Okay, guys, sorry I accidentally hit it accidentally cut off. So I'm gonna try to finish this. We did not finish chapter 31, so I'm going to finish from where we left. Sam sat cross-legged with his head drooping, and I sat with my back to him. Of all people, it was stupid to have told Sam. How could he believe what he couldn't see? When I turned around, there was a gentle smile on Sam's moon-colored face. Can anyone else see her? He spelled slowly. And that's when I knew what I had to do. I think Jed can. I spelled. Oh my gosh. I really am messing up. On my bed, there was a really old silver tape recorder. One that Dad used to play music on when he was young. The little note stuck to it said, "Play me." "This is your dad speaking. This is a message for Callie," it said, then a sigh and shuffled paper. "You can say anything you like into this recorder, and if you want, you can let anyone you like listen to it. But if you want to record something and don't want anyone to listen to it, then that's all right too." It then went quiet again. That's it for now. Over and out. I pressed it to my ear and played it again. The same words, the same message. Dad came in. "Your burger's getting cold," he said. He put the plate on my bed. "Did you listen to it?" he said, picking up the tape recorder. He played it back, heard the soft crackle of no reply after his message. He tapped the button, rewound. He sighed. "Dr. Colborne's idea, you know? The expert," he said, holding up the recorder. "She wrote me a letter." What did she know? Was she going to make everything worse? Oh, she was just going to make everything worse. I stared through the wet window. I wondered what Dad would say if Jed said he could see Mom, too. Would he believe Jed? Would he see that Homeless belonged with us? "Hello," said Dad said with the recorder at his mouth. "Is anybody there?" He played it back. Then he spoke into it again. "Hello, yes, this is Callie's dad. I'm sitting on Callie's bed at the moment, which, even though it's dinner time, still hasn't been made." He sighed again, left the machine on record. "Callie won't tell me what color she wants her bedroom painted, so I'm going to have to guess. She didn't look too excited when I suggested pink. I wouldn't either." That was me, not the book. The book didn't say I wouldn't either. That was what I said, because I don't like pink. I'm not a pink person. Although if it's a gift, I will gladly take it, but just not to be rude. So, yeah. Oh well, let's get back to it. He laid down on the bed, smiling. So I'm guessing maybe brown or possibly gray. He lifted his head, saw my folded arms and frowning face. "Maybe not," he said into the recorder, laying flat again. He sat up, dragged one of the boxes over, and peeled back the lid. She still hasn't unpacked any of her things either, although her dirty clothes are all over the floor. He pulled things from the box. "So what have we got here? Books?" He placed them on my bed. "You need to sort these out. Some of them are baby books. You don't read them anymore." He pulled out more things. Smelly shoes, he went on. Boxes of beads for losing down the back of the sofa, necklaces, old jeans, old felt tips. He emptied everything onto my bed. Sorry. "Come on, Callie, it's about time you sorted this stuff out and put it away or throw it away. You were supposed to do that before we moved. We've been here weeks now, and we're staying put. You know that. We can't live out of boxes forever." He sighed again. "What am I going to do with you?" Hadn't I tried to tell him 1,000 times? If he would just let her still be here with us. Just say, "Remember when your mom said," and bring her back with words. He found a picture sticking out from under the bed. The one me and Mom had drawn of each other. We held it between us. He left the recorder running. You know what she'd say right now? His heart couldn't help saying. She used to say it all the time when Dad moaned or argued and went on and on about work and boring stuff. I remembered her rolling her eyes and pulling faces at him. I remembered her giving him a hug. and she said it in my heart just as Dad said it. Play us a tune or sing us a song, but for heaven's sake, stop going on. And sometimes he would. Well, he used to. He'd get his guitar out, sing a song, or just play a tune. Sometimes me and Mom sang with him. Dad laughed softly. He looked into my eyes. That's what she'd say, he said. We stared into the drawing, as if we could still see her holding the pencil. For a minute, looked like he really remembered her, like he knew the winter was over. I wished your mother were here right now, he said. She'd know what to do about you. Chapter 33. More rain gushed down the windows, filled up the drains, and made great puddles and ponds in the road and on the common. Miss Cooper said absolutely not in this weather when Sam asked if we could go to the common. We wanted to find Homeless and make sure he was safe, find Jed and ask him, somehow, about Mom. I don't ever remember so much rain, Miss Cooper said, looking into the sky. Not this time of year. The river in town will burst will burst its banks if it goes on like this. And besides, you can't go out. You've got another hospital appointment later, Sam. We sat together on the windowsill, played hand-clapping games. What is a ghost? Sam tapped on my hand. A dead person come back, I spelled. Can you touch them or smell them? Smell them? No, you can only see them, but you can sort of hear them like a... I realized Sam wouldn't understand TV because he couldn't hear or see one. The Coopers didn't even have a television set. You know what a telephone is? I spelled. Sam smiled and put his hand by his ear, pretending he was holding one. He explained what he could tell when the phone was ringing. They had a telephone with really big numbers. It rang like a bell and buzzed so Sam could feel the vibrations. He spelled that sometimes his mom gave him messages from people who called. Up. A bit like that, I tapped. You could tell when Sam is trying to work things out or remember something. He hangs his head, his long black bangs fall over his face. The only thing that moves is his bony, thin chest, and you could just hear a little wheeze at the end of his quick breathing. Like a message, he spelled. He leaned back. Can you phone them? He tapped. Sam isn't like ordinary people. He thinks about things differently. Maybe it's because he can't see or hear, but sometimes what he says just makes me feel like my brain and my heart are exploding. In a good way. I wanted to tell him he was magic because he made me feel like I wasn't weird or crazy or stupid. All the time I had been waiting for Mom to come, like the day she died. Me and Luke waited and waited after school for her to come home and cook our supper. The house still smelled of the pancakes we'd had for Dad's birthday that morning. His birthday cake was on the kitchen table, but Mom hadn't iced or decorated it. She must have forgotten something because she'd driven the car out of town. She was coming back, but there was a crash. Sam put his ear against the window. His fingers crawled along the wooden bits, gently searching. He found a tiny moth with shivering wings pulling itself from a thin cocoon. It had a thin red stripe and ragged red spots on its black wings. Sam nudged it and stepped it onto his finger. He made a cage with his fingers and caught it in his hand. He held it out and put it on my hand. The moth spread its wings over my palm. Underneath, the wings were vivid red. Phone your mom, Sam spelled, just like on a telephone. I thought about Mom. I thought about her really hard. I made a cage with my fingers around the red moth. I closed my eyes. I could still see the brilliant red of the moth's wings. They spread and changed into a different shape, a red coat. And she was there, right inside me. Mom, I said in my heart, Sam's magic, isn't he? Oh, yes, she said. And so are you. Are you a ghost, Mom? I asked her silently in my mind. I don't think so. Ghosts are spooky, scary things, aren't they? I suppose. But I told people, I told them you're a ghost. It doesn't matter because they don't believe me anyway. Are you an angel or a star then? She laughed. Me? An angel? A star? I'm your mom, Callie. I know that, but her voice was suddenly serious. Now I want you to listen very carefully. She seemed brighter than ever, as if there were a spotlight on her, but she was also quivering and blurred. Remember the clock inside the big old cathedral? The way they painted the solar system? I thought about that not very long ago. They painted the earth in the middle and the sun went around the outside. And I said, people get things the wrong way around. I remember. She smiled. Exactly. I don't get it. Well, what you think is on the outside is in the middle. Like your name is my middle name? Just like that. I felt her in the middle of me. That's when I noticed my belly didn't hurt anymore. I'd gotten so used to it aching. I thought you were up in space or something. Why would I go so far away? Just because you can't see me, it doesn't mean I'm not here with you. That's what Sam said. Wait, what? Just because you can't see me, doesn't mean I'm not here with you. That's what Sam said. She seemed to be evaporating, the redness of her coat like dying fire. But I did see you. I said in my heart, and what if you can't? I couldn't look away from her, burning brightly in the middle of my mind. That's when I knew she would go away soon and I would never see her in the world again. What about Homeless? I whispered silently, trying hard not to cry. Is he going to go away too? Things return where they belong, she said. The moth slipped between my fingers. It circled around the ceiling, flashing red and black in the shadows of the dark corners. Sam opened the window. Like a tiny flame, the moth fluttered away. You phoned, and said Sam, grinning. He knew. I wanted to ask him how, but he stopped smiling and said, hospital now. I hate hospitals. Chapter 34. Miss Brooks and Miss Stedman stopped talking when me and Dad arrived at Miss Brooks' office. How nice to see you again, Mr. Fisher, she said, shaking his hand, but her smile wasn't a real one. This is just a short meeting so that we were all up to... Oh my gosh. Did I unplug anything? I'm not. Am I? Okay. I don't think so. Okay. Sorry. I accidentally tugged on my cord when I tried to get that squeaking to stop from my chair. This is just a short meeting so that we are all up to speed on what's happening. Good, he said. I have to get back to work. Dad sat down, crossed his legs, and folded his arms. We've had the doctor's report and have it passed on to Dr. Colborne along with our own report, said Miss Brooks. Her eyelashes fluttered as she looked down at some papers. I understand she wrote directly to you. She did. She suggested I use a tape recorder. And how's that going? Dad didn't look at me, as if he might have worked out that I was thinking that maybe he ought to see Dr. Colborne instead. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get comfy in my chair. I'm not sure that a tape recorder is the best answer. I see, Miss Brooks said, taking her glasses off her head and polishing them, and nothing else seemed to be working. They talk like you're not there, discussing the best way forward, using suggestible suggestions, long-term strategies. Well, Dr. Colborne has asked to come into school and see Callie. She's made an appointment for next week, said Miss Brooks. Just knowing she was coming made my stomach turn. We just want you to know we're all doing our best to sort this out. Dad coughed like he had something stuck in his throat. Well, that's all, really. Anything you'd like to say, Miss Stedman? She shook her head and said, no, but I have a message from Mr. Crisp. He still hopes Callie will sing at the end of term concert. Dad closed his eyes, turned his face to the ceiling. He opened his eyes, faced me, and I could see the disappointment. He shook his head. Oh, Callie, he said softly. Miss Brooks thanked Dad for coming in and said she'd stay in touch. There's just one other thing, Mr. Fisher, she said, getting up. We've been having some problems with a very large dog coming onto the school grounds. A gray wolfhound type dog? Dad asked. Dad said, his eyes wide while he glared at me. Yes, that's it. Callie was with it on the playing field a few weeks ago. It turned up at concert practice after school a couple times. Its howling outside the hall is very disturbing for the children. I'm afraid we haven't been able to apprehend the creature. It just seems to come and go as it pleases. I remember reading about dogs in the library that the reason they howled was so they could talk to their families, even the ones that had gone, even the ones long, long away. Dad put his hand over his eyes and sighed. Can you shed any light on this matter? Miss Brooks asked, perching her glasses back on her head. Does the dog belong to you? No, Dad said, it definitely doesn't belong to us. Well, we have called the local authority, said Miss Brooks. The dog warden is coming during the next concert practice. Chapter 35. The list of times for concert practice was stuck on the music room door with the names of the children who had to be there. After school, I stood at the back next to where the big glass doors of the assembly hall were open, and the long blackout curtains puffed in the breeze. I know Mr. Crisp saw me, and I pretended to sing, opening and closing my mouth while they all practiced the big final song. Mr. Crisp's mouth twitched from side to side, but he didn't say anything. Mia and Daisy saw me, too. Mia kept twisting around to look at me, whispering to Daisy. She put her hand up when they stopped singing. Yes, Mia, said Mr. Crisp. Callie Fisher's at the back, and she's not even in the concert. A ripple went through the children as they all turned to look at me. Thank you, started Mr. Crisp. Daisy continued. She didn't put her name down like you're supposed to, and she's been bringing a dog to school, and you're not allowed to. I don't think, and my mom said when she finds out who messed up my shoes. That's enough, said Mr. Crisp. Concert practice is for singing, not telling tales. Everyone eyes this way. Just then we all heard a sad how. Daisy's hand shot up again, and by now her voice was screechy. See, I told you, they're coming to take it away before it hurts somebody. I slipped out between the billowing curtains. I saw Homeless, his head up high, howling. He greeted me, swishing his tail and weaving around me. Hush, I said silently. Don't let them know you're here. Then I saw Miss Brooks through her office window, heard her bang on the glass, but I didn't care. Homeless was beside me, close against me, telling me with the soft eyes just like I was telling him. We were supposed to be together, and because he was with me, I thought he would be safe. I ran with Homeless by my side across the playing field, heading for somewhere far away from everyone. But before we could get to the gate, a van pulled up on the drive, and a man and a lady jumped out and ran towards us. They had long sticks with loops around the end, but Homeless danced about too far away for them to reach. Miss Brooks shouted, Callie, come away from the dog! Children were piling out through the hall doors. Daisy started shrieking. Mr. Crisp was trying to herd everyone back inside. The shrieking went on. The man and the lady were throwing dog treats towards Homeless. Come here, said the dog warden. There's a good boy. Homeless must have been hungry because he stopped running and looked towards the biscuits scattered in the grass. Callie, Miss Brooks puffed, running towards me. I want you to come over here now, please. I should have made sure he had food so he wasn't hungry. I shouldn't have looked at Miss Brooks. I shouldn't have taken my eyes off Homeless. She stopped me from running away with him. I saw the loop slip over his head and around his neck. I saw the sadness in his face when he found he couldn't come to me with the two of them holding the end of the stick. Chapter 36. I didn't think anyone would find me. Sam was with Jed when they knocked on the shed door. Jed's here. He's okay, but he can't find Homeless, Sam tapped. I spelled out what happened at school. Sam went back to his apartment to collect some cards from his boxes to tell Jed. Jed turned around slowly, looking up and down at the pictures I had drawn and the photographs pinned on the shed wall. There were photos of Homeless, of me and Luke as babies in our school uniform with brushed hair and gappy teeth, family vacations, birthdays, and Christmas mornings, Mom and Dad on their wedding day, hundreds of smiling faces. All the best days of our lives together. Jed's eyes crinkled. He peered closer at one photograph of all four of us, the one with Mom in her red raincoat. He touched the picture. My heart leaped. Your mom? My heart felt like it would explode, beating faster and faster. He stared at the pictures. He looked into my eyes and nodded to himself. You've got her eyes, he said. The door crashed against the side of the shed as Sam came stumbling back in a hurry, wheezing. He spelled in my hand that he had asked his mom what you had to do to get a dog from the dog pound, and she said you had to prove it's your dog and pay about $100. He said he didn't tell her why he was asking, but she guessed it was Jed's dog and said perhaps it was best to leave him with people who could find him a good home. Sam gave some cards to Jed. Big dog, gone, van, and money. Jed's eyes glistened with tears, then he wiped them and smiled. We've got to get him back. Chapter 37. The next day I had to see the evil witch, Dr. Colborne. My hands felt cold. I squashed myself against the wall and squeezed my lips together when I saw her coming along the hall with Miss Brooks. Everything about Dr. Colborne was small, like she was the minimum of a person could be. Tiny blue eyes and small freckled face, very short grayish hair. Her light-colored skirt and jacket fitted her exactly. Miss Brooks said, "This is Callie Fisher," and gave me a "see where all this has got you" look. They looked funny standing next to each other, tall and small. "Would you like me to sit in?" Miss Brooks asked, her orange lips thin with her smile. "No," said Dr. Colborne. "I have your report." "Oh," said Miss Brooks. "Would you like some coffee or something?" "No," said the doctor. She didn't even say no, thank you. She just sat down and in Miss Brooks' chair, stood up and took the pink cushion off and handed it to Miss Brooks without saying anything else. "I'll leave you to it then," said Miss Brooks, looking for somewhere else to put the cushion. "I'll be next door if you want anything." Dr. Colborne pulled some papers out of her leather bag. I saw my name on a thin file. She put it on the table and didn't open it. "Before we do anything else, I need to tell you something," she said, sitting up straight. She spoke very fast. "I never take any notice of things people tell me about someone I've never met. Good or bad, none of it. Not if you understand." I did. She hardly waited before she went on. "So that means I know nothing about you, and you also know nothing about me. Does that sound like a good place to start?" "Not if you understand." She spoke quickly, but I couldn't tell if she was happy or irritated or anything. I nodded. "Secondly, I don't mind if you already have ideas about what we are going to do together in our time. Maybe you think I'm going to be mean or make you do something you don't want to do." Am I going too fast?" "Nod or shake your head." I shook my head. She didn't stop there. "I find it a lot easier and much more satisfying. I have to say, I find out things for myself." "Yes? Otherwise we're all in a muddle, even before we start, aren't we?" All of a sudden quite it was quite funny. She spoke really quickly, like a ninny. I just sat there, trying to keep up with my head nodding and shaking. I couldn't help it. I laughed. Dr. Colborne leaned back, crossed her legs, and laughed too. "So, now you can see something of what I like," she said. We laughed. "And I can see a bit of what you're like. And thank goodness you seem quite normal." She winked. "Only the very strange ones don't laugh at me." She was still smiling. "Actually, nobody has ever laughed at me," she said, patted the file. Shall we get the boring facts out of the way?" I nodded before she had a chance to say, "Not if you understand." She opened the file, flicked through some papers, closed it again. "Doctors say you're fit and healthy. Teachers, family, friends say you don't speak. Does that sound like a reasonable summary of the situation?" Nodding. "And I have also been informed that you can speak and sing very well." Her voice had slowed and she looked at me for a long time. "I am very sorry about your mom." She never took her eyes off me. "I would like to ask you a question." You can nod or shake your head, that's fine. The question is, are you going to speak again? When someone asks you like that, out of the blue, it's hard to think of an answer. So I shrugged. Then the break time bell rang. Dr. Colborne unbuttoned her neat jacket and went to look out the window. Children went out through the doors, chatting and screaming, laughing and yelling in the playground. And then, believe it or not, we just stood there for the whole of the break time, just looking out the window. We watched the football games and chasing games. We saw someone scrape his knee trying to escape. We heard screams from someone in tears. We heard arguing over a ball. We saw third-grade girls skipping along, linked in a chain, singing. And then the whistle and all the voices settled to mutter, and the doors closed behind the last children who went in. Dr. Colborne said, "Where would we be without our voices?" But that was all. We sat down, and she started talking quite fast again, telling me about some of the things she did with children who had trouble talking to help them not be scared of their own voices and what people might think about what they said. "But I have a funny feeling none of that is going to work for you. And you know why?" I shook my head. "Because you shrugged when I asked if you were going to speak again." I felt my mouth open and closed it. "You see," she said, picking up speed, "if you'd shaken your head meaning no, then that would have meant I had to help you. And you wouldn't have wanted that, would you?" She smiled. "If you nodded, that might have meant one of two things. Either you were just saying yes to keep me happy, or you were waiting for a particular thing to happen." She stopped talking and breathed in a deep breath. Do you know, Callie, that people communicate with their bodies all the time? Tiny little vibrations and movements all tell a story that about someone. Their eyes give them away. Can I ask you something else? I thought she could see right inside me, right into my heart, and I didn't mind. I could tell she was really nice. Until the things happened you were waiting for, do you have someone like a friend or a teddy bear or a pet? She looked forward and whispered, someone you could talk to even if it's not out loud. I didn't nod, but I couldn't stop my eyes from filling up. I kept blinking and then wondered what she'd think that meant. She looked at me straight in the eyes and said, good, I'm very glad. She put my file in her bag, buttoned her jacket, and stood up. Most people think that they should have what they want just like that. She snapped her fingers. They don't want to wait. They're impatient and don't understand that everything takes its own time. Change happens when things are ready. Understand? She went to shake my hand but squeezed it instead and said, I wanted to get to know you today, and I'm very happy to have met you. I thought that too. I'll come back and see you next week. See what I can do to help, she said. In the meantime, I think whatever reason you have for not communicating must be very, very important to you. Chapter 38. We are so close to the end, and I really want to see what happens at the end, because this is getting to be very good. Okay. Miss Cooper and Sam were waiting for me when I got home. They showed me the note pushed under the door. It was in Jed's nice, tidy writing. It said, come to the music shop today, from Jed. Sam's not told me exactly what's going on, said Miss Cooper, but he says we must go, and I gather that you'll want to come too. I nod madly, tapping on Sam's hand. What's this about? Sam put his hand over his heart, patted his chest. Good feeling, he said. Miss Cooper phoned Dad, asked if I could go into town with them on the bus. She winked while she was talking, but she didn't say where we were going. Dad said okay, as long as I was not back too late. After a short walk from the bus stop, I could already see there were people gathered around the music shop. There was a man juggling with forks and spoons. He was wearing a checkered shirt with the sleeves rolled up and a nice pair of blue trousers. His beard was gone and his hair cut short, but the sparkling eyes told me it was Jed. At his feet was an orange woolly hat and a sign saying, homeless. People clapped as more and more spoons flew through the air. The forks clinked when they passed in his hand. His face was completely concentrated on what he was doing. Jed caught the forks and spoons, made a small bow, put his hands together like a prayer. Then people clapped and sprinkled coins in his hat. I didn't recognize you, said Miss Cooper as the shoppers went on their way. Jed ruffled Sam's hair and let Sam feel around his face. Sam smiled and tapped on his mom's hand and said, Sam says you're very smart. And she said, Sam says you're smart. So Sam's mom told Jed that Sam said he was very smart. That is very sweet. Miss Cooper looked at the coins spilling on the pavement. You could tell she was working things out. She offered to count the money for Jed. Then Luke came over. He was with Rachel, and she said, we saw the note. What are you up to? Can we join in? Miss Cooper was holding up all the money in her hands, chewing her lip. This is to get the dog back, isn't it? She said. Do you have enough? Asked Rachel, straightening her hair behind her hairband. Jed smiled at her. Can you juggle? He said. No, she said, but then her eyes became wide and excited. Be back in a minute. She rushed into the shop, and we saw her through the window talking to the man inside. Rachel came out, waving a drum over her head. He let me borrow it, she laughed, and I can make music. There was something about the way Rachel drummed. The sound was like a magnet, and when the Pied Piper made all the children follow him, more and more people couldn't help coming over to listen to her drumming and watch the flash of silver from the forks and spoons flying through Jed's hands. Sam held my hand the whole time. He didn't move, not a tiny bit. My heart fell in the sound and was part of the music, too. Part of Sam, part of everything. Rachel made a stance on the inside. Soon the money was clinking in Jed's hat again. The clapping was louder. People stayed longer. When the shops shut and people started to go home, Miss Cooper counted the money again. I saw her add some money from her purse. She handed it all back to Jed and smiled. You should have enough now. I saw the brightness in Jed's eyes. He turned to look at me. I'll bring him home, he said, where he's meant to be. Yay! Okay, so last counts I had, the dog, homeless, got taken to the pound. So now Jed has enough money to get him back, which it takes to get a dog back from the pound, you have to have recognition that he's yours, and you have to have $100. So let's see. Sam and me sat on the wall outside. The street was dark, but even though it was late in the evening, the sky was still light. You have to persuade your dad when Jed gets back with homeless, Sam spelled. He doesn't believe me. You have to make him. How? You have to speak to him, Sam spelled. Tell him why homeless means so much to you. Sam got his inhaler out of his pocket. You want homeless, don't you? More than anything, I wanted homeless to come and live with us. Make us a family of 4 again. Sam shuffled along the wall, leaned against me. What's the song like? He spelled. Sometimes Sam made me feel like I was really clever and he was asking me because he thought I knew the answer. Mr. Crisp knew all about music and singing. So did my mom. It starts on here, I spelled, patting my hands on his skinny middle. It tickled and he laughed. It starts with your breath. I saw the sadness fall on Sam's face, and I was going to tell him about listening and hearing, but that would have left Sam out, and Mom said singing didn't do that, leave people out. It knitted people together. It's a gift, I spelled. It's something that you give. I heard a blackbird whistling. Hear the sweet blackbird, she whispered. Hear it sing that it's safe to sleep and dream. I knew Sam couldn't hear Mom, but wondered if he could feel her somewhere deep inside, like I did. It's something my mom gave me. Your mom's nice, he spelled. I can tell. I can feel it, like she's here with you now. He held my hand, and I knew how special his skin was, how big his heart was. I believe you, he said. Your mom's nice too, I spelled. Sam breathed in the inhaler. She thinks I'm still a baby. She won't let me do what I want. What do you want to do? Sam shrugged, hung his head and his shoulders, and his long bangs fell over his face. Then he sat up, tried to take another deep breath, and held it with his chest up high. He coughed and spluttered, threw the inhaler down. What's wrong? I spelled. I'd never seen him like this before. He put my hand on his chest over his heart. I leaned over, rested my ear there, listened to the strange liquid beat. He smiled a bit, then spelled, It doesn't work properly. I thought about Sam's heart. To me, he had the best heart anyone could have, a mysterious heart. That's why I told him things I only dreamed of. I don't want another operation. He pulled down the neck of his t-shirt, showed me the fat pink scar snaking along the middle of his chest. I remember the sticker on Sam's calendar, the important date. It's soon, isn't it? I tapped. He nodded once. Mom gets scared, he spelled. I could have told Sam he was being selfish. I didn't have a mom anymore, and when I felt a little stab in my heart, I nearly wanted to argue with him, but something made me think differently. I remembered the mouse Sam had shown me in his mind, so tiny, but so brave inside, and I knew he wasn't talking about his mom. Don't be scared, I spelled. I'll be with you, always. You're my best friend. Tears rolled down his moon-colored face, and he wiped them with his shoulder. Take me swimming, he spelled. You and me. I sense the water, its waves spilling around us, soft and cool, holding us up, speaking of watery things to us, through the whole of our skin. I will, I tapped. Before your operation, I'll take you and we'll swim together. Chapter 40. For the next couple of days, it rained like waterfalls. Sam and me waited, but there was no sign of Jed or homeless. Sorry, guys. Sam crossed the days off his calendar, and I saw the sticker get closer and closer. We waited with the big front doors wide open, holding the big umbrella from the shed until Miss Cooper made us come in because there was a puddle in the hall. She waited in the shed, and I looked up at all the walls with every photograph and picture we had and remembered everything. Heard us speaking and laughing and singing as if the pictures were TV screens. I drew another picture of how I'd like things to be. I drew me, Luke, Dad, and I was just about to draw homeless with a long red leash for us all to hold, when I heard someone coming through the front door. And then it was like a car crash, a pileup of people. Me and Sam came running through the back door. Luke was there in the passageway, holding homeless by a new collar. I found him outside, he said, wiping the rain from his face. You're in big trouble now, Callie. You know Dad's already said we can't keep him. Miss Cooper was just coming out from their apartment doorway with the box of cooking equipment that I'd left there. She tripped over Sam's blue swimming bag, which was in the floor in the way as usual, and set the set of red bowls tumbled and clanked around the floor. Sam was apologizing when Dad came in through the front door. You could see Miss Cooper felt awkward having the box of Mom's old things. She opened her mouth to speak, but Dad exploded. Just because we share the same building and yard doesn't mean you're entitled to things that belong to me, he said, gritting his teeth and staring hard at the box. Miss Cooper's mouth hung open as she tried to get out her reply. It's not what you think. She started to say. And what's that dog doing here, Luke? I thought I made it clear, Dad snapped. It wasn't me, Luke said. I just found him outside. Luke let go of his collar, and Homeless rushed to me, greeted me, wound around me and Sam. Dad, it wasn't me. Tell him, Callie, said Luke. I didn't know the dog was here either, said Miss Cooper. Then we all heard Jed's quiet, husky voice. I brought him here. And who are you? Asked Dad, spinning around with the rest of us to see Jed in the doorway, his arms full of shopping bags, stuffed with everything he owned. This is Jed, said Miss Cooper. I thought he was Jed's dog. Jed shook his head. I've just been looking after him until I could bring him home. Dad's eyes flashed. Home? Dad snapped. His voice was all high-pitched. Home? This isn't the dog's home. Now he looked even angrier with Miss Cooper as well, because she seemed to know more about what was going on than he did. Jed came over to me, looked at me with his starry eyes. Dad's eyes narrowed. He pushed in front of me and stood close to Jed. Look, I don't know who you are, but you're very much mistaken. This is not our dog. Oh, he is, said Jed. I'm sure of that. We all followed Jed to the shed. Jed to the shed. Rhymes, don't it? Okay. I'm sorry. Dad stopped suddenly and looked at the wall and looked around at all the walls, all the family photographs, the drawings of Homeless and Mom. Jed took a photo of off the wall, the only one with Mom in her red raincoat next to Dad. Luke and me standing in front of the big old cathedral. He held the photo out to Dad, spoke softly. This is the lady who gave me the dog. I found her after the car accident. I tried to help. He stopped a moment as Homeless padded into the shed. She had a puppy in the car with her. Jed smoothed Homeless's head. He was the puppy. I grabbed Dad's hand to hold on to him while my heart burst open. Homeless was ours. He really had been ours. The ambulance and police came. They made me go. She asked me to take the puppy with me, to find you. Dad put his hand over his mouth, closed his eyes. I watched the silent tear on his cheek. She said you would need him. We all would. I didn't know who you were, but she made me promise to bring him home. I've been looking for you for more than a year. Dad's hand was tight around mine, as if he were holding on to. When someone tells you the truth like that, all your skin and bones and insides know. We were all waiting for Dad to speak, to say something. Jed continued. I saw Callie in town one day. Saw her eyes just like her mom's. And that's how I knew I'd found you. But Dad's hand slipped from mine as he turned away, touching the pictures on the wall. He held his fingers to their wedding photo. Dad, said Luke from behind us. Dad's voice quavered. He turned to Jed. How do we know you're telling the truth? That this isn't some story from Callie's vivid imagination. Some story she's convinced you about. Jed pulled himself up straight and looked Dad in the eye. Because Callie never said a word to me. Not one. Aw, that's kind of upsetting, don't you think? Okay. Chapter 41. Dad turned away from us all again and folded his arms tight around himself. It seemed as if he had left us too and couldn't come back to us anymore. No matter what anyone said, didn't he believe Jed? Why wasn't he saying anything? The silence was so painful, and I wanted Sam to tell him so he knew what to do now, so he could tell me something that would make me think differently. That's when I noticed he wasn't there. Why wasn't he there? I ran down the passageway, went to their open apartment door. Sam's swimming bag was missing. I saw the front door open, the front gate wide. The sunflowers were bending down from the weight of all the rain. I ran across the road. The puddles on the common had turned dark gray, just like the sky. There was a figure in a red raincoat in the distance, far across the common, and she was calling me, telling me to come, telling me to find Sam. The rain fell down, sprayed up as I ran. I couldn't see Sam, but I knew where he was. I knew that even though he was blind, he would find his way to Swan Lake. Every time we'd gone there, he'd felt all the trees and the lumps and the bumps in the ground, mapped the common in his mind. When we'd pushed the stroller, he'd seem to know where we were going. I ran faster than I'd ever run before. My chest hurt, my eyes stung from the cold rain. I didn't stop until I saw the gates and scrabbled through the hole in the bricks. I saw the pile of clothes and the empty swimming bag. I saw the lake trembling with hissing rain. The lake was much bigger than before, flooded right up to the steps by the old ticket office, swamping the bushes and trees. Streams of cloudy water ran down the clay bank. My goodness. Streams of cloudy water ran down the clay banks, swirling around the edge as the level of water crept up the sides. Oh my goodness. Sam, what are you doing? This is so confusing. I saw the white skinny body in his swimming trunks and the blue band of the goggles around the back of his head. He was almost up to his waist in the black water. I saw him leaning in. Yeah? Alright, guys. I'll see you after I get back. Bye-bye.